Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I think we have pretty much everybody here. Let me just check one more time, see if there's anybody I can pick off right away. Yeah, it looks like pretty much everybody's here. Welcome, Christy. I forgot. I was like, Christy's missing, but I'm missing one more person. I just can't. I think it's Andy. She should be here soon. But let's go ahead and get started. We are doing this year, they've tasked us with a DBA calibration. So we're going to talk about what that looks like, what that means. It's not necessarily that we're all asking the same questions. They want it more to be that we're all essentially grading in the same way. So here's what we're going to do today and talk about. Let's look at that. Okay, so we're going to talk about our PLC goals, what the team's going to be doing, our materials that we're going to need. We do have homework, and Nav has tasked us with some homework, so there is a homework assignment, our schedule for our meeting, and then a couple of things that are new to pre-calculus. Not new people, but new things to pre-calculus. So let's jump in. So here is why they want us to do the DBA calibration. What they're wanting essentially is that if a student is in my class taking the module 1 DBA and then he goes over to, let's say, Christy's class or Andy's class or Callie's class and they do the module 1 DBA, the level of rigor should be the same between the instructors. That's what they're looking for. So we want to make sure that we're grading in the same way, and that we are essentially covering topics all in the same way. So what we're going to be doing is looking at our module exams, and then we're going to, let's see if I can mute, wait, here I can find it. 1 second, there we go. So we're going to be going over the module exams to look at them and make sure that our DBAs are aligning with what kids are being tested on. Because essentially what I would tell my kids is, if you're doing well on this DBA call, it means that you should be able to do well on your module exam. But if I'm not asking them questions that relate to their module exam, that wouldn't technically be true. We're going to be creating essentially what that create documents is, just a rubric. And then we're going to determine, is there anywhere or any of the DBAs where we're not asking questions that are on the test that we should be covering in our DBA. So that's basically why we're doing it. Is the main thing is we want to make sure we're grading in the same way. So here's kind of the process of how we're going to tackle this goal, or how we're going to do this. The first step is we're going to take a look at our exams. And we're going to see, okay, what are they asking our kids on these exams? We're going to compare that to what we're asking on our DBAs. So some of us may use, in the answer key, there's a DBA template. Some of us may use that. I know I never used that, but we're going to compare and see, is what we're asking on our DBAs similar to what we're asking on our module exams, and like I said, are we missing anything? So we're going to analyze. That's our first step. Then after we analyze and we look at our tests, we're going to say, okay, now let's create and start fresh with new DBAs. We're going to share content questions. Really what we want to do is essentially, there's going to be 3 types of required questions. So these are 3 questions. Essentially, if the kids don't get it, they shouldn't be passing the DBA with those 3 required questions. And then we'll have 2 optional questions that are easier, but are kind of optional, maybe a teacher's pick. Once we discuss and we get some ideas, we're going to create. And so by the end of each PLC session, we will hopefully be leaving with a bunch of questions that we can ask of various rigor levels, as well as a rubric for each DBA. And then lastly, we can essentially be implementing this process at the end of each PLC, meaning I don't need to wait until we've completed modules 1 through 9 to start implementing the new DBA. Once we complete the first PLC for module 1, maybe the next module I have for module 1, I'm already able to implement the rubric. So I will show you, I'm going to show you an example of each of these steps and how they look. I started with, let me show you. I did this for module 1. So kind of give you an idea of what this is going to look like. This looks maybe like it may have taken a long time. It maybe honestly took, I would say, 20 minutes total for this. So here's what I did. I opened the chapter 1 test. I went through each question and I wrote down what the topic is covering in each question. Super simple. All you got, literally, you're not even copying the question. You're just saying, what is a topic we're talking about in that question? So this kind of gives us a quick idea and view of what they're being tested in chapter 1. Okay, so that's the test analysis. So we're going to create a test analysis for each test in the course. Then from there, I went ahead and I looked at, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you go to the course, under the actual DBA assignment, so I think for module 1, it's lesson 106 is the DBA assignment. Under that assignment, there is literally a link, and I think students miss it because it's a link to a study guide. It's not embedded into the actual lesson, but there is a link that is a study guide for every single DBA. So what I did was I just took that current study guide that is provided in our course and I wrote down, okay, what are they? Let's see if I can use a pointer. Yeah, there we go. What are they currently giving students? What's on that current study guide? And then we'll look at this together. We'll talk about, is there anything missing from the current study guide that they're being tested on that they may not have on the study guide? We're going to compare those two things, okay? Then in our PLC, we're going to be creating a rubric. And this is kind of what the rubric is going to look like. Again, I'm going to show you one that's already completed so you have a better idea of what the rubrics are going to look like. But that's essentially, that's the first homework assignment. And what I tried to do was I tried to go based off of your live lesson and give you which module you were doing. It didn't work out perfectly for everybody, but I tried my best to align the live lesson to the test analysis you would be doing. And you don't have to do this right away because, for example, the next PLC will be talking about module 1 and we'll be doing the module 1. So that one is mine. So, oh, Callie, yeah, I know. Everybody can see that. Yeah, you're not on the list. I know, Callie, it was because I ran out of modules. So don't worry, I will get you. I will get you. You're gonna hide. We're gonna do something. And Rose, you're not on the list either. Yeah. So I tried to go off of here's the other thing. We have 10 teachers on our team who teach pre-calculus, and then we only have 8 modules. So that was the other thing as well. So yeah, exactly. but yeah, I'm gonna send out an additional thing or something different that I'll task you to, Callie and Rose, just because we ran out of modules. So it could honestly just be you are helping with the creation of the rubric, or in a different way, you're adding on to the PLC. Awesome. Okay, so that's the first homework assignment, is you'll be having a test analysis and comparing the study guide. I'm going to send out an Excel spreadsheet. This was done on a Google sheet, and so you just fill it in whenever you get a chance before the PLC. So obviously, if your PLC is not until November, you don't have to do this today. But this is what the data analysis or the item analysis looks like. Okay, from there, let's see. I believe. Go. My slide is not changing. There we go. Okay. So in our ideation session, so this is when we meet for our PLC, we're going to be covering in each PLC, it's going to be 1 rubric, 1 module per PLC. So when it's your chapter, you're going to be presenting to the team. You're going to present what you found on the test analysis, what you found on the study guide, and then as a team, we're going to create questions for the DBAs. Right? And when it's your time to present, you're going to be the one leading the discussion. You'll be the one, giving us the hot topics, things that we should discuss. I wonder, this is not hiding. Put that up there. So that's what you're going to be doing in our ideation session. So when it's your chapter, you're going to be leading this PLC. And then, excuse me. And then we're going to create, as a team, like I said, the document with the questions. There are questions, I believe in a previous PLC, the pre-calculus team did something with questions. So I'm going to send that out as well that we can add. And then we can discuss how we want to create the rubric. So here is, so we talked about this. Yes, right. It's going to be ready for implementation. Once we've done the PLC DBA will be ready to implement within a week after we complete our PLC. Okay. This is where I'm going to show you essentially the product of our PLC. So I'm going to show you, and I'm going to send a link out real quick. So this here is an example. This is only one question. I'm going to send you the entire document so you can see it. Let me link it real quick. So this is one question. Okay, and let me kind of show you. It took me a little bit to read it and analyze this. So basically, okay, one topic. If they answer the harder question, they get the full point. So liberal arts DBA, I believe, was 35 points. So which is why if they got the harder question, they got the full 5 points. Our breakdown is going to be a little bit different because our DBAs are only worth 10 points. So they're going to be different. Wait, here we go. 25 points. Okay. 5 points each. Exactly. So each question was worth 5 points each for 25 points. Ours are only worth 10 points. So this point breakdown is going to be different. Now, if they got the hardest question correct, they got the full 5 points. If I needed to modify, if we need to modify the question, make it easier, bring it down a level, the most it can get is possibly 3 points. Okay. Let me in the chat box, where are we? So I can, my thing disappeared. I'm looking for my little box that's supposed to come up. There we go. It disappears after it goes idle. Let's put this down here. Come up again. Okay, so here is the full rubric. So you can kind of take a look at what does a full rubric look like and what our end goal is for the DBA. And I'll open it up as well. Okay, so you'll see that there's 3 mandatory questions. So these 3 questions we'll pick out from our test. Is there one topic that's covered more than the others? What at the end of our DBA, or even maybe that's not even the right question. The right question would be at the end of the chapter, what should students have to know once they have completed this chapter? So that's how we would pick our 3 mandatory questions. And then there's 2 to choose from. In this case, they have 4 to choose from, I believe. So they can choose 4 or 5, and then 6 or 7. These are optional. You can kind of pick what you want. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like for each DBA. Are you guys good with that? Any questions with goals, what we're doing, what we need to do?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I guess I have a general question here.
Yeah.
Isn't this all kind of going like against the general concept of not making it like a quiz with a strict rubric and getting like minus X points for like specific things? Like, I don't know, like it makes sense, but at the same time, it feels like it's going against the like feeling of what we've tried to advocate for DBAs. So
Yeah.
I'm confused about that.
No, okay, so I totally get that. So basically what this rubric is more of a guideline than it is a hardcore. What we're trying to do is make sure that, for example, here's the issue we were having. I would have kid A would get 10 points on his DBA and be able to answer higher level questions the entire DBA. He would get 10 points. Then I would have kid B who would also get all of the questions that I asked correctly, but all of those questions were lower level questions. So they were both getting 10 points, but they were essentially answering completely different level of question. And so that's what we're trying to do, is to make sure if a kid is getting a 10 out of 10 on a DBA they should dominate the topics. And so that's what Anav was picking up, that there was issuing a lot of 10s out of 10s on these DBAs, but not everybody was in a classroom was being asked the same level of rigor type question. Does that answer that? I don't know if that
I mean, it does. I just don't, I feel like, I've always heard like wording of the sort that kind of meet the kid at where they're at.
Yes, agree.
So
Yes.
if they have like you know what I mean? And then and just like having 3 mandatory questions, right? That doesn't sound like what she said, like, hey, don't have the words like question 1, this, question 2, that. I know obviously I'm not going to say those words, but if I have 3 mandatory questions, I'm essentially doing that, aren't I?
So I like what you said about meeting the students where they're at, and that is true. However, we want to bring students up to a certain level, and rigor-wise, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You guys can definitely pitch in too. I don't know if it's fair that if a student who's answering a lower level question is getting the same grade as a kid who's reaching a higher level question. I don't know. That's a good point. Valid point, Richard.
I don't mind, like, if we're shifting, but it just does seem like a shift in theory to have it more like templated, and pre-planned is all. So I don't know. It was just interesting, Yeah.
I have I agree with Richard in that sense. Like for module 1, transformations, if a kid explained to you exactly what a vertical shift is, yeah, they could stumble a little bit with the wording of it, but it could be just their the verbiage of it and them not knowing how to express themselves versus somebody who knows how to express themselves like very articulately. Like I kind of think we're trying to see if they understand the concept, not make them masters of it, because at the end of the day this is something that they're learning. So like I have kids that I have to prompt more for DBA, and then I have kids I don't have to prompt for, but if they understand the concept, they understand the concept, prompt or no prompt.
Correct. And so I think there will still be, in that sense, the teachers, I'm looking for the word, it's just escaping me. Oh my
discretion.
God. There you go. You got it. Yes. The teacher's discretion in that. So the issue is, there's a lot of formulas. So if I ask a kid something about Dumas-Ward's formula, if they can just only read off the formula, but they don't have no idea what they're talking about, that's where the issue arises. So a lot of our kids can read, like if they have the study guide. Yep, I'm running out of time. can read a formula off a paper, but not necessarily know the concept. And so that's what we're trying to avoid is, do they actually know the concept? And if they need a little prompting, that's totally fine. Or are they just reading it off the sheet of paper and have no idea what they're talking about? Because I would have the 2 type of student. I would have the kid literally read, and I would ask them, okay, so what does that mean? They literally, my words would be like, thank you so much for telling me the formula. Now, what does that mean? And so that's where the struggle is. We're trying to get them to, if they need prompting, no big deal. But it's just, do you actually get this, or am I just reading this? Which is the main difference that I think they're trying to get at with having us create these types of rubrics. But yeah, anything else? We're pretty much done. I'm just going to tell you the last little things real quick. So Catherine and I, actually, I'm going to be leading the first one because I did module 1. I'm going to share, here's what we're going to need. We're going to need a link to the shared Google Sheet, which I will send. And that's where we're going to do our test analysis, as well as compare the study guide that they currently have and see if there's anything missing. Maybe we make a new study guide, whatever, that could be later, but we just want to make sure there's not anything missing from the study guide. And then I will host and have the document where we create the rubric, and I will send that out at the end of our DBAs, or at the end of our PLCs, all these 3 letters. Okay, so here's a tentative schedule. This is super tentative because, for example, we'll do module 2 in our pod time during in-service. However, December and January, I know those can be kind of little tricky months with vacations and the 2-week break that we have in there. So very tentative schedule, just letting you guys know. This is ideal world. We do one a month, but I know that not everything is ideal. Okay. And then the last thing is a couple of new things. If you haven't seen already, Callie and Sarah created the note guide slide that has all the note guides. It's already on the announcement page. Those go with the written lesson. So if a kid is reading the lesson, they can literally fill in the blank. That's all they have to do with those lesson guides. They can use them for DBAs. They can use it for tests. They're really, really, really helpful if the kid uses them. And yes, the assignment template, I have not posted it yet, but that slide is there too. Then the other new thing that we're doing is the live lesson attendance procedure. So at this point currently, we are the only team who sends an email out for the live lesson attendance. If a student attends the live lesson, so any live lesson except for 503 or 704, we do not need to send an email out. If you would like to send an email out, you can send an email out directly to the teachers whose kids attended. But when you send it to Team Pre-Calculus, you're sending it to everybody basically who's ever taught pre-calculus and currently may not be teaching pre-calculus. With lessons 503 and 704, if they've attended the live lesson, they're going to be submitting that file for proof. So we don't need to send out an email either for 503 or 704 because students are submitting that. Like they will be submitting that assignment, and so they'll have the proof. You will have the proof as a teacher. If you're wanting to know, did my kid attend, and you're not sure, through how you guys do your live lessons, I'm able to access anybody who is logged into the live session. So if you're like, I need to know if this kid went, just shoot me a quick email and I can tell you if that kid attended the live lesson or not. So we do not need to anymore send out emails for.
I have a question.
Yes.
So are we allowing students to join on cell phones and on iPads? Because they can't save if they're on a cell phone or an iPad.
So if they cannot save for 503 or 704, you can have them screenshot the sign-in sheet. So that's all they need to do is show the screenshot that they were there. So every teacher should have, and I think most of you guys do have this, you guys have a sign-in slide at the beginning. So if a kid's on an iPad or iPhone, they just need to screenshot it that they were there as evidence.
Oh, okay, hold on, wait. So why don't we just do it like the other pods do it? Why don't we just upload PDF files to like a SharePoint or something, and then that way if a kid loses a PDF file or was on their mobile device, we can just give it to them.
Yes, you could do that as well. So the only ones where
I mean, we would just need to actually do. That's like, you know, some people can't do that. Everyone would have to do it. Otherwise, the system doesn't work, right?
Yes.
Like for 503 and 704, if you go on mobile, okay, you don't get the file, and you reach out to your teacher who will give you the file to upload. And then just, you know, if people forgot to save it, or if you do want to verify who attended, right? You know, you can see it because you'll just paste the, you know, attendance on the actual slide, right? So
correct. And depending for 503 and 704, they complete the assignments.
Right. Yeah. So they definitely need the file. So if they, you know, don't have the file for whatever reason, you know, something happens or they're on mobile device, right? Then it's just like, it's nice to have those.
So Angela,
I suppose. I don't know.
Who edits the team pre-calc? I don't even know. It's a process to edit the teams that are once they're made in Outlook. It's through the help desk that you got to do. Yeah, yeah. So if you've ever been on another team, you know that it takes a little bit to get off of the team that you're on, so you would still get correspondence. But Callie, you mentioned Microsoft Teams, so you probably may have gotten an email for me for Microsoft Team. I have not done anything with it. I've just created the team, but that is one place where if you feel like you want to upload the PDF for like 503 or 704, you can upload it there. And if you look at the attendance, usually it's only 2 or 3 teachers whose kids are going, sadly. I know. But you can email those teachers directly. Just type it right in if you're like, I want to make sure that they know that their kid went.
Yeah, I guess, we can just make an agreement with basically people who use it the most and just say like, hey, I will put it on Teams if you're interested, just so you don't have to go into Blackboard and then look at it. That just takes like a lot longer, So.
I don't mind. I do not mind.
Right. But like, it's just efficiency, right? Like if they want to know, right, for like module 4 review, let's say, they can always just go and look at the Teams thing if they're interested, right? So that way you don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of just in efficiency wise,
Correct. Yeah.
Because they're gonna have to ask you every week, basically.
Yes. But yeah, bless you, Susie. Exactly.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Yeah. So you could just email the teacher directly. It'll probably honestly take the exact same amount of time to email teachers directly.
Is it possible that we make like a Google spreadsheets and have like put the kids' names in there, and like have that be a common document with all of us?
I can send you, I created something like that. I can definitely send it out. I'll send it out to you guys via email to see if you like it. It's basically a Google Forms that just has you upload the PDF, and that's it. So you say what live lesson you taught, you upload the PDF, and any one of us can go in and see, okay, on Tuesday, module 2, let me see what they did and who went, kind of thing. So I can send that if you guys want to do it that way too. So it's kind of up to you, but you do not need to send an email anymore.
Maybe we should do a poll to see what method everybody wants to use and then just go that way.
Let's see. Wait 1 second. I wonder if I could do a poll here. I think I can, but it's going to kick me out. In about 1 minute, it's going to kick all of us out. So let me say goodbye, and I will send this via Outlook. Let me say adios to all of you. Thank you so much for coming, because I know it's a 40-minute time limit and it's going to kick us out all pretty soon. So I will email everything out via Outlook, and we'll talk a little bit, continue to engage in that live lesson conversation. You guys have a wonderful day.